Hello and welcome, I'm Tefera Gedamu. My guest today, Sara Haile, was born and raised in Copenhagen, Denmark. As a teenager, she decided to visit Ethiopia and see what difference it could bring to her life. Of course, a very big idea was born. A very warm welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Your story, I bet, is quite familiar of young Ethiopians who come from outside of Ethiopia, either for a visit, for work, and so on.
Yeah.
Young people your age. You were born and raised in Copenhagen,
Yeah.
Denmark.
Yeah.
You're the daughter of refugees.
Yeah, I am. I was born and raised in Copenhagen with a lovely family of 6. Yeah, I was really lucky to get the opportunity to be raised in a resourceful country, and that gave me the chance to go back and make a difference in Ethiopia.
But before we go that, you're not one. I mean, there are plenty more of you
Exactly.
in Denmark.
Yeah.
And you grew up in a country that is too white.
Yeah, we have a really small Habesha community, and in general, we're not that big of, like, there's not a lot of immigrants in Denmark. So in general, it's quite a white country.
How did you manage? I mean, I'm trying to understand how you grew up, the challenges that you have to go through, and so on and so forth, because of the color of your skin.
Yeah, they haven't been easy. Of course, they have been different. I've been different kind of situation where I've been some sort of, like, racism, if you can say so, but not along that. Also caused a lot of identity crisis, like, who am I, where am I from? Because I was born and raised in Denmark, and I came to Ethiopia in a really late age. I was 14 when I saw the country the first time, but I also fell in love with it afterwards.
Racism it was something that you had to grapple with seriously, right? Yeah. And it kind of crosses the line and comes home.
But actually, yeah, it's true. But I've been in some certain situation where there's been, like, specifically racism, but, like, not like major things that had an effect on my life, and that, if you can say so. But of course, there's a different being, like, the only colored girl in school, and yeah, because I had a lot of white friends.
The fact that you were a family of 6, did it help in any way in terms of because what happens outside of your home it could sometimes be really serious.
Can, but I was really lucky to have a big sister. An elder sister who had been going through everything, and she was, like,
going through everything.
Like, been going through the whole thing of being black, in Denmark, and she was really helpful with, like, advice and everything, how to get through. And if people would say something, she will have a good advice. So it was nice to have someone in the house who's been going through everything. So
when you're going to school as a young girl, I mean, did you say that you were the only black girl in school?
There was a few, not like, more like when I went to high school, I was the only one, but our school system was a little bit way different. So from 1 to 9th grade, I was in, like, a primary school, and there was, like, a few. But when I went to high school, I was the only one. As far as
racism is concerned, was it a lot different from the time a lot different from the experience that your parents went through?
Yeah, definitely.
It improved or what?
No, actually it got worse.
But your parents, they thought they were welcome in Denmark when they moved in there way back in the 80s?
Yeah, I'm also really proud of my parents. They did a quite well job. They're doing well in Denmark comparing to, like, what Denmark is kind of a hard country. Danish is, like, kind of a hard language to learn. So yeah, they're doing a really great job when it comes to, like, integrate themselves into the Danish society.
When did you realize that this kind of racism was very serious? Some kind of alienation was creeping into your body. When did you realize that? I mean, when you grew up, when you started going to high school, or when did you realize that you were a lady of a different color?
Identity crisis was more like when it came to culture. It was not more like, I was quite early age, I was kind of proud of being black, but it was more like when I'm saying identity crisis, I'm more talking about having 2 cultures, because my parents, even though they have been really integrated themselves into the Danish society, there will still be some, like, difference being Danish and Ethiopian. So it was kind of hard sometimes to be like, oh, I wish my parents could understand that, and they will be like, oh, I wish my daughter could understand that. But it really helped that I've been going back and forth to Ethiopia a lot.
An identity crisis for you, in a nutshell, was You were rooted deep inside Denmark. You had that Danish identity and also the Ethiopian one. And you cannot put your two legs into different locations.
No. Yeah.
And that's why this crisis crept in.
Yeah, that's how the crisis crept in. But right now I started how to live with it, to live with two culture, and now I see it more as a gift. I'm fortunate enough to have two cultures.
So what did you decide when you felt that you had this crisis all around you?
Actually, it happened when I was in first grade of high school. It was first year of high school, and I asked my parents if I could move to Ethiopia for 6 months.
And you were how old?
I was 15. I wanted to learn my language. I did not know how to speak an Ethiopian language. I did not know anything. I did not know anything about, like, just really small, like, things about my culture that now I'm taking a little bit for granted. But yeah, so I was 15 and I moved to Ethiopia for 6 months in the northern part of Ethiopia. And then it's been the best 6 months in my life. I learned how to speak one of the Ethiopian language. I learned how to, like, small things in our culture and our traditions, and just being Habesha, what it means to be Ethiopian.
What does it mean to be Ethiopian? What did the 6 months tell you in a nutshell?
There were, like, a lot of different things, like everything from our history, everything just like this respect for other people, the way that we are rich in like a lot of different things, like our traditions, our food, our dance, like all our historical places. I've been to all of them. Yeah, there's different, like, a lot of things, how love Ethiopians really have, like a really, like, the way that they show love for the family, they show love for each other. Also, one thing that I really, really appreciate is, like, our Ethiopian hospitality. It's one thing that I really, really appreciate and have been taken really close to me when I go back to Denmark.
You felt empowered when you went back to Denmark?
Yeah.
You felt that you were a different person, or what?
Yeah, like, in many ways. Like, not only that I had been, like, learned how to speak my language and knew how to make injera, how to make all the different kind of wood. Also that I knew I have an idea of how our culture is, our traditions, and so on. And also one of the best gifts was that I could understand my parents more, and my parents became my best friends after that, because I had a more understanding about what sometimes when you're a teenager and you're trying to understand what they're doing, just like how Habeshan parents can be sometimes. I was really understandable for everything, and that made everything so much more easier.
This is a story, I mean, I've heard this story over and over again. I mean, similar experiences. The Ethiopians, kids who were born, I mean, young Ethiopians in the US or in Europe, who came back to Ethiopia, after they return to their adoptive country, they become a lot more different and a lot more understanding of the nuances back home. I'm talking about the family back home, their parents and so on. It's interesting that you experienced that too.
Yeah, I definitely did that.
So you can speak the same language, that is?
That's because we have different personality comparing to what kind of language we speak. And for me, it was so much more. Now my parents could express themselves so much better when they speak our language, the language that we speak at home. So for me, it was, they will understand me 100%. I will understand them 100%. So it's like, that was one of the biggest gifts.
So this is something that we recommend for others too?
Definitely.
And you're talking about plenty of Ethiopians in Denmark.
Yeah.
I mean, not plenty, but quite a sizable community of Ethiopians in Denmark, considering that it is a new destination for Ethiopian immigrants.
Yeah, the population in Denmark is really small. So if you think about that, we have quite enough big community.
So that's when you started thinking about doing something among Ethiopians in Denmark and in the larger Scandinavian community.
Yeah, I wanted to. Like, since I got that great gift, I wanted everybody to be able to get that gift too, because I was really underestimated how much it means to be able to communicate with your parents, be able to understand your culture, and just also know where you're from, know your roots. It's like what a big impact it can have on your life, on your everyday life in Denmark. Being an immigrant in another country can be tough sometimes. So for me, I wanted everybody to be able to get that gift still.
Tell me about the Ethiopian Diaspora Youth Association.
So after some times, I used to go back and forth a lot to Ethiopia and Denmark. I go back and forth from Ethiopia and Denmark. And then I started this as an association called the Ethiopian Diaspora Youth Association.
That came out of, well, it came out of your visit, constant travels to Ethiopia.
Came out of my visit. It came and purely passion. And I started this organization once to inspire other young Ethiopian diaspora to come back to the country and know their roots, and basically just get the same opportunity as I do and be like an example for them how important it is.
But you have to do some work within inside that country to get this organization going, to get young Ethiopians come aboard, talk to each other, and so on and so forth. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
It's tough. It is tough because people are really engaged in their life in them, like different countries like Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. So if the parents don't encourage them, they wouldn't find it easily themselves to go and like try to look for come for the events. Like you could have to work harder to get people actually to come for the events.
So you have to do your homework first by talking to their parents.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. So first, like, you will have some events when you invite the parents and you tell them bring your kids. So you start slowly. It's quite new, so it's step by step. So
the interest is increasing or something? How is it going?
Yeah, people are having a bigger interest of coming to Ethiopia also because they see how people are returning home from all over the world, and they also. At the same time, there's a lot of opportunities in Ethiopia, so they also see as a win-win situation in a lot of ways.
You also do fundraising and so on, right?
Yeah.
For what cause?
I'm running this NGO. It's called With Knowledge You Can, and basically I've been doing some different fundraising. I also established a fundraising fund when I was 16, 15, where we were through events in Denmark. We were raising money from different kind of organizations in Ethiopia. And that was my first one. Right now I'm running something that's called With Knowledge You Can. And With Knowledge You Can is an organization that's creating new projects every year. And every year we are having a charity ball.
In Copenhagen? In
Copenhagen, yeah. And the idea behind it is also to bring the Danish and Ethiopian business people together. So we're going to invite the top of the business people in Denmark, and we're going to have a charity ball every year. And they can be part of the charity ball if they buy 1 year of sponsorship. And when they buy this 1 year of sponsorship, all the profit from the event will be going to a project in Ethiopia. So we change the project every year within the education sector.
Education sector, what exactly are you doing in the education sector? I know that you're working on teaching English as a foreign language here, help college students get refined in that language.
Yeah, so basically we are doing creating new projects every year. So this year is about developing English skills in public schools. So right now we are working with a university called Tefera University College, and we are creating some new projects together, how we can improve that. They had a little bit more knowledge about it than I do, so we're working together. So right now we are finalizing the project proposal for this year's project. What
do you intend to do? I mean, to bring English teachers, or I don't know, what is...
There's different kind of ways that we are thinking about doing it. One of it is more education for the teachers, more different kind of supplies of equipment, school equipment, more technology, and seminars, workshops.
So you think you've sold this idea back home in Copenhagen to different businesses? I mean, are they You said you talked about the charity ball.
If there's interest from Danish companies, yeah, there's a huge interest for it.
Why are they interested?
In
Is that
Ethiopia?
a social corporate social responsibility, or what is it? Or is it your dynamism here?
First of all, is of course, and not like first of all, but Ethiopia, they can optimize their CSR profile by be part of this project. But another thing is also that people are getting an eye opener for what Ethiopia actually is. We have one of the fastest growing economies in the world. So, and Ethiopia is also one of the prioritized countries in Denmark. So for me to sell the idea it helps a lot that the country is actually improving. But also, like, my passion for Ethiopia and the way that I sell the country, I believe is helping a lot. Ethiopia, everybody remember Ethiopia as being a country with hunger, and when everybody was singing "We Are the World" and all those things. So yeah, we're trying to. So that picture is slowly about to be removed.
You've been involved in this consultancy company for a few years now. To try to bring investment, to Ethiopia, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the right path instead of working on small projects like this one?
I used to have
bring the investment here.
Yeah.
You just said that the world thing, the famine and so on, is slowly disappearing. And then wouldn't you want to be part of the whole process by bringing investment to this country, campaigning among Danish businesses and tell them, hey, you have plenty of opportunities where you can print money and come to Ethiopia. Wouldn't that be the right thing to do instead of thinking about small projects?
Actually, yeah, you're right. I still do, though, run a consultancy business. It's called Aras Africa. And at the moment, I'm taking a 6-month break from it because I want to do something that makes me happy and that I'm passionate about. And of course, I believe in business education for development. So, of course, it would be the right thing to do, but I'm still doing it, just in another way. And so I'm not totally leaving it, but I want to have that perspective too, that we are not helping Ethiopia, but we're both doing business and education at the same time.
Denmark is not known to Ethiopians as, for example, Germany is, and other European countries. I am assuming that they would want to be part of the dynamics here.
Yeah, definitely. We had an embassy, we started our embassy 10 years ago. So Denmark has never been represented like that. But Denmark are really trying to improve the relationship between Denmark and Ethiopia, and not like the government itself is doing a lot to be part of it, especially because our neighbors, like Sweden, are investing a lot in Ethiopia, and that's the reason why also Denmark got an eye opener, I believe.
These projects that you're telling me that you're working on are really big, more so in the next few years. You're going to reap the fruit, if you will. But then, how easy or how hard it is to get started with these kinds of projects in this country? I understand that you'll be talking to a number of officials, academia, in colleges and so on. How easy or how swift is it for you to do what you're doing now in this country? Is it difficult? Is it too bureaucratic here?
I'm not gonna lie, of course it's tough. It's really tough, especially because I don't speak Amharic. Addis Ababa is a big city, and the system is way different than what I'm used to. But I already knew that before I started, so it's about being patient. But I've been an entrepreneur for a lot of years, so I know 9 doors will be closed and the 10 will be open. So you just keep going, and of course sometimes it's a good day and sometimes a bad day. And the day can go from, you can wake up in the morning and be really happy because you finish some great deals, and then in the evening you can be so sad because someone wouldn't show up for your meeting. There'll be tomorrow, and then but that's also kind of the charm of doing projects in Ethiopia. So you have to take the good with the bad.
So you encourage other Ethiopians like you, who were born and grew up in Europe and North America, to do what you're doing, do the same thing and so on. Do you communicate with each other? I don't know. Is that platform available for you?
Now social media is kind of big, so you can inspire people through social media too. And but it's really important for me to be a role model for for everybody else, everybody around the Ethiopian diasporas. But yeah, I'm really trying to encourage them, and I have a lot of curious Ethiopians around the world who ask me daily because people are also scared. To be first mover is not easy. If you don't, like for instance, it will be easy for my Ethiopian friends who's close to me, my brothers, my sister. It will be easier for them to come back to Ethiopia because they have me and I can give them advice every day, like how it is. But being first mover is not that easy. So of course people are kind of scared because they're used to the bus is coming on time. If you have an appointment at 10:30, you have an appointment at 10:25, and that's what people are used to. So I actually don't blame them, to be honest. But yeah, I wish the parents though could encourage their children a little bit more.
Young people your age come to Ethiopia to make a difference. There are plenty more. You've heard all these stories. Rickety boats capsizing with 250 to 300 and plenty of Ethiopians in those boats. Ethiopians being beheaded as they try to make it to Europe and so on and so forth. So what do you make of this traffic in light of what you're doing, you and your colleagues are doing to make a difference, fly here and make a difference in this country?
That's also one part of what encouraged me to do what I do. As I said, Ethiopia has one of the fastest growing economies in the world. So in the future, more big companies are going to operate here. The Ethiopians are going to have companies that's going to be more globalized, and I really have a dream that we can recruit more Ethiopians in the future. So problems like that that people are escaping from Ethiopia will be less and less and less. But yeah, like my heart is bleeding when I see that Ethiopians are leaving like that, and I believe I was just lucky that I was born in Denmark. I could have easily been born here. So I believe that I have to do my part of it to contribute. But it's hard to witness that things like that are happening when we are trying to come here to do something. And I believe there's so many opportunities for young people in Ethiopia, and some can't just see it because all they see is the American dream or the European dream. So, yeah.
Sara, thank you very much for your time and thoughts. It was a pleasure having you on my show. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.